to kind of bring it all around is because of market cap. You try to hit them with the wait a second, buddy, you don't understand. So to kind of bring it all around, my question to you is, um, how high do you think this thing could go? Like that's the question everybody wants to know. That's the $1 million question.
I'm glad you brought up the thing with market cap because here's a good example to really look at things. And people don't really look at it this way, but I do because I sort of came from the finance space when I was in school. I was focusing on economics a bit, and one thing that I always saw and I thought was just absolutely mind blowing is you would have these startups that are less than a year or two old that got maybe 20 or 30 million dollars in funding for an idea that may be interesting. They're now worth billions of dollars somehow, and they've never made a penny. And it's because, them being able to leverage their stock as a financial instrument on top of investment funding is able for them to scale their wealth that way. Well,
Yes.
all of these are different financial instruments. So when you start looking at these and you start wanting to do this like 1 plus 2, 2 plus 3 sort of math in terms of trying to calculate these things, they're significantly more complicated than that. So much so that people spend their whole lives in these careers being able to be wrong half the time. You know what I mean? So these things aren't that simple. And when it comes to being able to leverage the value of these networks, one thing that's going to be quite interesting is the market cap. Like people look at it in terms of dollars, and it's easy to because they go, oh, $1 is equal to this much value or whatever. But market cap is sort of a expansion on the over. I like to look at it. I like to look at it as market cap basically shows the maximum amount of liquidity in any given ecosystem. That is it. At any given time, there's a hypothetical this amount of liquidity. Now, one thing that people get mixed up with is they sort of mistake it as growth. And the big thing about market cap when it comes to it being a financial instrument is, well, the growth can be entirely dictated on a zillion different things. It can be dictated on how much money is flowing into the network in dollars. It can be dictated on how much money is being traded on the network in the native token, what the growth is on the native network. That's the thing. What if, let's say you entirely cut off all of the growth from dollars coming onto a given network, and then on that given network, let's say you had an explosion of growth on that network, people using the applications and just using transactions, you can still end up getting demand on the network without there having to be demand coming off network onto the network. You see what I mean? You can still build things up. And the best way I like to describe it this way is, let's say you had a stock on network A, right? And the stock's worth $100 and you're trading it back and forth. Well, or let's say it costs 100 network A tokens because you're trading it back and forth. Well, now, let's say over the course of time, it's worth 110 network A tokens. Well, to buy that same token, it would cost you 10 more network A tokens, driving up demand for the underlying native asset. You see what I mean? No value was transacted from off network onto the network. It was just the demand for an on network item that basically increased in value. You see what I mean? And
I don't know if you heard what he said. Basically, you don't need for the price to go up. You only need the demand to go up. That's what he said in basic, plain, simple English. Just keep listening.
That in itself can create a spiral that becomes so ridiculous because, well, what would happen is, let's say all the money in the world, right? Let's say you thought all the money in the world, fine, cool. Well, what ends up happening is what if you have all the demand, all of the volume in the world, all transacting on these networks, and you end up having not only economic growth, but you end up having economic prosperity because all those different middlemen that are essentially getting replaced with blockchain are now basically creating more. I don't want to just say economic growth. It's creating more. It's making it more efficient, so they're able to extract more value due to the efficiency. And because it's extracting more value due to the efficiency, it's worth more. But because it's worth more, it's a spiral upward. You see what I mean? And that's why it's hard to calculate because it's like, well, how am I supposed to calculate all of the money in the world and all of the demand in the world and the commodification?
It's hard to calculate. They're saying basically the price is gonna be so high, like ridiculously high, but you can't even calculate it because it's just so many components which are going to be included in the price that it's going to be so much high, so high but you can't calculate it because exactly what I've just said. It's just endless and endless and endless value, which is going to be represented um, by probably a few networks, but I would bet the bigger portion is going to be XRP, and because of the underlying technology and the fast transaction time and the scalability and so on and so forth. Um, but basically it's going to be a few networks, and they are going to be moving value, mainly XRP, of course, and XRP around the globe. Every single asset, every single thing representing value, including, all the data. When we watch something online and stuff like that, which they used to advertise to us and so on and so forth. Everything representing value, all of the value is going to be essentially representing the price of XRP in a way. Not exactly, but you know what I mean. Just keep listening.
Of all items and all things, and the demand for all the demand for the commodification for all items and all things, and what that would look like, and what the efficiency would be for it being more efficient than what it is being done today. So it's like crap. Once you start really laying it out there, it's like, well, I don't know what it's going to be, but I know it's going to be it's so like it's going to make quadrillion look like a little number. You may end up seeing double digits, triple digits.
It's gonna make look it's gonna make it look like a quadrillion is a small number. We're gonna see double digits, triple digits of quadrillions.
It's worldwide numbers for quadrillion in terms of what the overall economic output of every single item ever that can reside on these networks to some degree. And that's the thing; it can go to literally everything. So like it can be something as simple as a NFT that was produced to keep track of something, and demands being created for there because something needs to keep track of it, and there's gas involved for that. Just something super huge like the overall economic output of the next few countries that are going to run on these networks. You see what I mean? Like,
I think there's a very, very simple answer to what you just said, and it's just like everything's going to infinity. It's just going to infinity, dude.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just it's just the amount of money which are going to be flowing into blockchain is infinite. As like, imagine how people are forming in game stock or whatever that thing was. How people were forming in. Imagine how people are forming in NFTs and so on and so forth, and then imagine every single thing representing value flowing into essentially in a way into XRP, even if it's not like directly, even if it's indirect through XRPL. But essentially we are looking at the chart of the price of XRP, where it's gonna be like, even if we've got volatility and stuff involved, which is going to be looking a lot more like Bitcoin, or I would say a lot more crazier than Bitcoin, I would say even. So what do you think is going to happen? Is it going to be the case where the price is just going to stop? Or is it going to be the case where the price is going to just keep rising and rising and rising and rising exponentially and to infinity? So I think they've got a very good point there.
But it's not. There's no way to. There's no other way to say it. And I've always, when I first came across crypto, that's what I thought. I'm like, there's a limited supply. Okay, so everything's going to infinity. It's very simple. It's like eventually money's gonna flow in here, unless like things are rug pulls or exit scammed out of existence or regulated out of existence. But even regulating things out of existence is gonna be hard too, because they're
exactly, because many things, like for example the tech behind XRP, how are you gonna regulate it out of existence? For example, if you don't do it on a global scale, and ban XRP everywhere around the globe, which is already accepted, and huge businesses like SPI are building up systems and payment channels all over the planet. And Rothschild has invested 5% in Ripple. Why would they do that if XRP is going to zero? So like, it's very hard when you have people on that level and connections, such connections like yeah, I'm gonna buy washing liquid soon. Everything's
Workarounds
frozen, by the
to
way.
every
Everything's frozen, by the way, in the UK. I'm getting so tired of making stupid moves. Yeah, so you need to be very careful how you position yourself, of what's coming next, guys. Just keep listening.
everything, and
Oh, that was part one. So yeah, I don't think so. I'm gonna be playing part two. You can I've put the links down below for both channels. They'll have it on their channels. You can finish watching it there. But I think you get the point. And basically, there is gonna be no limit to how much money are going to be flowing into blockchain and into XRP and so on and so forth. So, but I think XRP is gonna be the one. So be very careful where you put and what you do with your money. But I think it's one of those where like if I'm right, you better put at least £5 or $5 into XRP if it's gonna go to infinity, as an insurance. Because if it goes, number one, you're gonna be kicking yourself in the teeth. Number two, your family is gonna be kicking yourself in the teeth. Number two, your kids are gonna be doing it. Your grandkids are gonna be doing it, and so on and so forth. Everyone's gonna be asking you, where are you sleeping? What were you doing back then? At the time where transformational and generational wealth was created. What were you doing? So you better have some money invested than none. I'm not saying go all in like I'm doing and like loads of smart people are doing, but just and obviously I'm not a financial advisor, and that video is not a financial advice, definitely. But I think you get my point. I'm trying to educate you if you are new to the crypto space, or if you are a crypto more kind of a crypto veteran, but you haven't discovered yet XRP, or you have been given by the so many stupid channels and so on and so forth, like a very bad angle on it, and you don't get the facts and the whole idea. So I'm just trying to picture you what's happening in reality, so at least you know. I'm not saying believe me, I'm not saying you don't believe me, I'm not saying buy or not buy. All I'm saying is judge the risks. Go to your financial advisor, ask him as well, and take a like informed decision. Investigate all angles and all kinds of point of views before you make a move. Don't just watch a single video on XRP and because I said it's shit, don't just stop researching. Keep researching and keep digging into the rabbit hole, and you'll see a lot of things what I see and what a lot of other people see. So I'll be signing out. That's all I've got for today, and see you soon.